Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, more major changes were made to last night's WWE Raw, but the reasons are a bit different.
A major heel turn and a title change on last night's Raw.
We've got a backstage update on Eric Young's WWE status.
And the top act has re-signed with AEW. I'm Adam Wilborn.
I don't know how to function with two people in the studio anymore.
It's good to be
broken.
back. And this is the news.
It's nice not to be on my own for a while. That's the message for life and the news.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, let's kick things off by talking about the changes to last night's episode of Raw. Second week in a row with major changes to the show, but the reasons are a little bit different this time around.
Whew.
You know those travel issues that Cody spoke about, that Paul Heyman spoke about, that everyone spoke about on the show? They were real, and they caused chaos with last night's episode of Raw. A number of outlets have reported on this. Fightful reported before the show that this was going on and that travel chaos was going to be an issue with wrestlers struggling to get to Seattle. Andrew Zarian then tweeted like 30 minutes before the show started that about half the roster weren't at the venue yet.
Wow.
Golly. Elsewhere, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer noted that a large portion of the locker room wasn't going to be there or would be arriving late, meaning that WWE had to change a bunch of stuff, come up with backup plans. You get the picture. Now, Fightful Select's report states that The Miz and Bianca Belair were among the wrestlers who were originally supposed to be on Raw who couldn't end up getting there, basically. There was also supposed to be a match between The Miz and Matt Riddle that got canned, so that's a thing. Sami Zayn and Riddle... Paul Heyman at one point in the show said travel issues, they're not here, but they showed up for the last segment. So you'd imagine that maybe they were amongst the group that got there late. And it was like, get out there and save Kevin from getting his ass kicked.
And if you don't get here on time, we'll just send Cody on his own.
Yeah,
basically.
baby faces everywhere. But travel issues might not have been the only thing at play with the Raw changes. Even though Vince McMahon wasn't there, which continues the theme from SmackDown. Fightful notes that a bunch of talents were actually flown to Seattle, only to be told they weren't needed for the broadcast, some almost right after they landed. Vince wasn't at the show. PW Insider have some updates here as well, calling it like the travel day from hell. A third of the show had to be changed. It was a stressful, chaotic day. Backstage mayhem by the sounds of things. Vince did go over the show before it went out, but presumably the thing that he went over ended up being different from the one that actually aired.
Yeah, first of all, I love the fact, I haven't really had a chance to talk about this, that people going, well, if Vince isn't there, it's back to Triple H, Raw and SmackDowns. No, it's not.
Nope.
I mean, this was a vast improvement, I've got to say, on this Monday Night Raw. But I did wake up at 6 o'clock this morning to watch Monday Night Raw, and the first thing I saw on my phone was the tweet from either Sean Ross Sapp or the Fightful account, and saw major changes to Raw and thought,
here we go again.
So it was a bit of a weird relief that it was
travel issues.
There was these sort of travel issues.
It illustrates travel issues quite well.
But yeah, can we have more? Because that Raw was a lot better than when they had everyone in attendance last week.
To be fair, the 3-hour broadcast could have been Vince McMahon taking a dump in a jar, and the show would have been better than last week, probably. I
quite enjoyed that. It was not a good Raw.
It was
obviously.
better. It was a lot better.
Yeah. But I also thought last week's Raw wasn't as bad as everyone was making out. Maybe that was because I was there.
I thought it was quite bad, but I didn't think it was like the worst Raw ever. I thought that was a bit much.
It wasn't even the worst Raw after a WrestleMania I've been to.
Yeah.
Last year, we got Ezekiel, and the main event was Roman Reigns saying "Acknowledge me" at the end of his promo.
Yeah.
So...
And 35 was crap as well.
We got Lars Sullivan.
Lars Sullivan beating up Kurt Angle, and then no debuts or anything.
Yeah. We got to see Taker.
Lars.
I'd never seen Taker live before, so that was pretty cool.
He was digging holes and taking souls.
He came out, you and I went to the loo, got a drink, came back, and then he hit the ring. And beat up Elias. But there were some major events nonetheless, despite this travel chaos on last night's Raw. There was a heel turn and a title change, all sort of merged into one. So obviously, last week there was that number one contenders match between two teams who lost the Women's Showcase, doesn't matter. And it ended up that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez were going to challenge Becky Lynch and Lita for the women's tag team titles. Now, earlier on in the show last night, Lita was discovered beaten up backstage, attacked, laid out, whatever. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez first on the scene, but I have a theory, which you probably can guess at the end of this story, is who it actually might have been. Thankfully, good old babyface Trish Stratus said, you know what? let's just do a weird version of the Freebird rule. I'll step up.
I'm in, brother.
And defend the tag team titles alongside Becky Lynch. They didn't work that cohesively as a team, was kind of the story of the match. And in the end, it looked like they were going to retain as Trish Stratus lined Liv Morgan up for a chick kick, but she missed, got rolled up by Liv Morgan. 1, 2, 3. Morgan and Rodriguez are your new tag team champions. Trish looked pissed afterwards. Becky went, it's all right, she's still a bloody legend, went to leave and got jumped by Trish Stratus, who subsequently turned heel. Of course, she's probably the one who attacked Lita backstage earlier on in the night. There was already sort of little breadcrumbs laid out there last week for that one, with her being like, I'm a bit of a third wheel in this team, aren't I? But I like this development, Andy. They've only held the titles for 42 days, though. Yeah,
I think a lot of people pinpointed this as the likely direction when Lita and Becky won the titles and Trish came back. So fair enough. It's a good way. You got the trios match done. You got the nostalgic title reign done. Now you can do the singles match between Becky and Trish, which theoretically could be on one of WWE's bigger shows of the year. I wonder if they'll do it at Backlash or King of the Ring or somewhere. It's cool. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? It's just like a good way to use a legend without them necessarily being around for like a year at a pop, because presumably Trish isn't back full time.
No.
But yeah, it's a pretty good story.
I always quite liked heel Trish Stratus as well, though she really clearly enjoyed playing that role. And good to see Bayley on last night's Raw as well. That was a real relief to see her pop up on screen. Yeah. And I should also mention on last night's show there was a number one contenders match, the new number one contender for Bianca Belair. Io Sky, yes, please. I don't need any more damaged Kotaro bollocks, but Io Sky and Bianca Belair, yeah, they'll put together a pretty decent match at Backlash, one would assume.
It might be quite good. Yes, that's my hot take on that match. Eric Young, you want an update on Eric Young?
What is going on here?
This is so strange. Like, I'd forgotten about this, but PW Insider reported last December that Eric Young was on his way back to WWE. He's back with WWE now, right? And he's been there since the 1st of November. Pretty much. Fightful Select reporting, basically, on this matter, following up on the Eric Young situation, stating that he'd been re-signed to the company, going potentially as far back as early November.
Wow.
Young had told Impact that he was wrapping up there in October. He stayed on TV just to finish his story commitments, and there's a taping delay with Impact in December, and that's when Mike Johnson of PW Insider reported he was going back. But it's April now, and he's not been on TV. So what the heck is going on? Fightful notes that there's not even been any word of him being backstage. But the Triple H did bring him back to WWE in a wrestling capacity last year. So there you go. That's the gist of it. Young was obviously with WWE previously between 2016 and 2020. Sanity, all that stuff. He was Impact World Champion after going back there when he got released by WWE in the middle of the global pandemic. Back. Not been at shows, not been on TV. It's a curious case, for sure.
Yeah.
Very curious case.
I haven't got great hopes for him now. Vince McMahon's back pulling the strings, if I'm perfectly honest. But I'm a big fan of Eric Young's, and he's got a fantastic voice.
Very talented man with a very talented voice.
Yeah.
It's weird to have him on your payroll and not use him. Well, maybe he's injured.
Yeah.
Like, there could be something like that that's preventing him from appearing.
Just glad someone's getting paid.
Yeah, just get paid, baby.
Good for you, Eric.
Best way to be.
Let's move on and talk about FTR. No surprise, really, here that they have re-signed with AEW. And no, it wasn't really all on the line in that match with the Guns last week.
Oh, that was a shoot contract match, brother. They had a shoot fight. That's why it ended in simultaneous roll-ups.
Indeed. By the way, that was a stupid stipulation, that wasn't it? Because if you're the Guns, why don't you just grab some chairs and beat the shit out of FTR?
Oh yeah,
getting
good point.
DQ'd doesn't matter.
I hadn't thought of it that way. Just kick them in the balls as soon as the bell rings.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
It's really dumb. Even
Silly.
if you were like, no, we're going to try and beat them clean, and then you were like, right, we're going to have to cheat. At that point, punch the ref, punch everyone.
Just make it no DQ. That would have saved.
Yeah.
But anyway,
regardless, FTR are all elite. I was going to say again, still. This was confirmed by Dax on his podcast, FTR with Dax, which is genuinely, Andy, one of the best podcasts out there. That isn't ours, of course.
Of course.
He said, as I said a million times, never did I want a bidding war between WWE and AEW, or to play one side against the other. For me, Cash, Maria, Finlay, that's Maria, his wife, Finlay, his daughter. The best course of action was to stick around in AEW. He continues, yes, we have re-signed with AEW. If you think we went into the building Wednesday night with no contract signed and said, we're not going to sign unless you give us these belts, you're so short-sighted. Excuse you, Dax, it's very offensive. I said on the podcast months ago, we knew what we wanted to do and everything was fine-tuned. We knew way before Vince came back in charge and what was going to happen. Yes, we've re-signed with the AEW. Yeah, he also clarified that it wasn't like they watched what happened with WWE, saw WrestleMania, saw Vince return and went, oh, bollocks, let's give Tony a call. It had all kind of been sorted prior to this.
Yeah, he went on a little bit and mentioned how, like, in WWE, people are maybe conditioned to feel like they're expendable and replaceable and all of this stuff, whereas it's not necessarily the case working for Tony, which is an interesting insight to all of this. But yeah, there you go, confirmation. It would be so funny, wouldn't it, if they walked in as free agents and went, brother, unless you give us the belts, like, we're going to base the next 4 years of our lives on us beating Austin and Colton Gunn tonight. That would be funny, but obviously that's not the case, and yeah, good for them.
I think, don't quote me on this, I'm fairly certain either one or both of the Guns were interviewed by Simon Miller over WrestleMania weekend, so the video will be coming to the channel soon, and they were very the Guns, let's just say.
Fun. That'll be a fun one to get there.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's the right decision for FTR, this.
Yeah, like...
Especially now Vince is back and he can address them as jesters if they'd have gone back there.
And all that rubbish. Yeah, it is, like, they can work everywhere with AEW, theoretically. They can go to Japan, they can do indies, all that stuff. Like, the schedule is probably a little bit easier for them, especially with Dax and his family and all that stuff. So I understand this decision completely, and I hope they keep doing good work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can hang out with Mark Briscoe, so that's good.
They are. All their buddies. All their friends. Who else are they friends with? Oh, that Phil guy from Chicago. Wonder what he's up to. Questions. Thank you.
Accusations.
Get Rick Ross back. That's what AEW's really missing.
That's why they've really re-signed with
the
AEW.
biggest boss. Get him on.
Should we rewatch that segment today?
Let's do it. Let's listen to Teflon Don.
You are a big mother flipper.
Rick Ross is great.
He's the best.
Do you see he did an interview after he called him a big mother flipper?
Did
and
he?
They were like, why did you call him a big mother flipper? And he went, well, he's a big mother flipper.
Yeah, look at him.
It's like, it's great.
He's facing, not Rick Ross, is Keith Lee facing Jericho this week?
I can't remember.
I think he is, you know.
My brain has been turned into pasta by all these recent stories, so hey, we'll see. But Albert Moreno has been on. Not Alberto Moreno, formerly of Liverpool.
He's
the worst football team alive,
isn't he?
Yeah.
Alberto Moreno. Yeah. But Albert, top boy. Thank you for the question.
Yeah. Used to play for the worst football team alive, Liverpool. Good morning. Sorry, Albert. Didn't mean to slander you by equating you to
association.
Yeah, with a Liverpool player. Ugh. Good morning. In percentages, what is the likelihood of Endeavour taking Vince's contract to the shredder after the merger/sale is final? I'll give you a short answer: 0%.
0%, guys. You can hope and wish and organise your fire Vince in the comment section of the bump. All you want. They really like Vince McMahon, despite everything. And even if they didn't have the weird thing where they feel he's probably integral to WWE, even if they just went, you know what, let's make a decision based on our morals, they've still left Dana White in charge of the UFC.
After he slapped his wife in public.
A week before they released Power Slap as a TV show, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're not good guys. And,
they love him.
He's going nowhere. The only thing that will change, and I'll give shout out to Michael Sutrick on this one, is if business trends go down, and even if that happens, Vince will just say, it's the post-WrestleMania slump.
Yeah, exactly. He's here, and he's going to stay here for as long as he is physically capable of being here. They're not getting rid of him.
It's a really depressing time.
They wouldn't have agreed to keep him around as part of a sale agreement if they didn't love the guy, so there you go.
Yeah. He's and stop making funny jokes about his mustache, because that's the point, guys.
That's the
you laugh at his mustache and you forget about the horrific accusations that caused him to resign in disgrace.
Yeah, absolutely. And the frustrating part of all of this is that people go, well, if Vince still has final say, but the shows are as decent as Raw and SmackDown, where I'm okay with that. It's like, nah, think about the things this guy's been accused of. Think about even the way he strong-armed his way back into the company. He didn't make some like nice, smooth return. He literally wrote to the board of directors, and this is public. You can find it if you Google it. He wrote to the board of directors and said, unless you let me back in as executive chairman, I'm not agreeing to the sale of the company, and I'm not signing off on new rights deals.
And I don't know who needs to hear this, but WWE making $9 billion does not affect you or I, so don't
stand for billionaires. It's freaking weird. We've had people everyone's been so...
Either billionaires, by the way.
Yeah, like, simping for billionaires is really weird. Like, we've had a few people, almost everyone has been really great this past week.
Yeah.
Past 2 weeks and stuff. But we've had one or two who've been like, why are you lying about Vince and stuff for this? Like, oh my God, don't base your personality around liking billionaires. That's obviously not what Albert's doing here. No. Just asking a question, but but sometimes people are bad.
Yeah,
that's the
bad people are bad, even if they've got lots of money. Sometimes because they've got lots of money.
The exception, Scrooge McDuck, obviously,
of course,
the great man.
That's allowed.
Is he a great man? He might be an asshole. I don't know. Magic Eye's been on. Here's an open-ended one. How do you think WWE will look at the end of the year? I think it'll be Lucha Underground 2.0.
Oh, please.
Goblins.
At the end of the year, I don't know. By next WrestleMania, I mean, there's definitely a video in this.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go too much into it, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they really start chucking some money around, to be perfectly honest, because they've got it, and you know, if they get the right deal, which they're going to. I finally got around to watching that. Is it CNBC, the interview that they did?
Yeah.
And aside from the word pinwheel, the other thing I picked up was, they're swinging for the fences with this rights deal, and if they get that sort of money, anything's possible. So the person dethroned Roman Reigns, it's not Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. They'll save that till WrestleMania and give it to Conor McGregor.
There you go. Conor McGregor versus a man twice his size.
Yeah.
But that's the magic of
twice his size now.
Yeah.
Conor getting a big old boy being outside of that USADA testing pool.
That's the magic of wrestling, though, isn't it? That USADA testing pool doesn't exist. Have you seen that Trader app advert that Conor McGregor's doing at the moment on YouTube? If you've seen this thing, hit me up. It's really funny. I'll try and find it for you later on. How will WWE look at the end of the year? 75% the people will still be there.
Yeah.
The shows will be mediocre because Vince will have the majority say. There you go. And he already does. Miles Coots has been on, right? A fun one to close this because the wrestling's been too serious lately. You ready for this? When are we getting a hair match between Triple H and Dana White? Go.
Is that the loser has to get hair plugs?
I think, that is the ultimate punishment, isn't it? Because as we've said before, if you've had hair plugs or are planning on getting them or whatever, you're a loser and a freak and I don't respect you. There you go.
I want Dana I want Triple H to lay down for Dana because I cannot imagine. I can obviously picture Triple H with long hair. Dana White, I've only ever seen him with that weird sort of, I'm desperately trying to hold on to my hairline thing. So for him to have flowing locks, for him to be like, coming up, Israel Adesanya is going to be defending the title against Matt Riddle. No, that definitely wouldn't happen. Israel Adesanya versus Chad Gable. There we go. That's definitely the same weight class, Adam.
Yeah, 100%.
Israel Adesanya versus Otis. There we go. But also,
I think Dana would look funnier. I think Triple H could probably grow his hair back.
Yeah.
It seems like his hairline is pretty solid. It's just buzzed. So I'd be curious about that, though, because it might be really thin. I'm not sure. Imagine that with do you know who Devin Townsend is?
Yes.
The Skullet. That would look pretty cool, wouldn't it? Said no one.
I want the rights deal to come through for WWE, and then all the old bald wrestlers get Botox and hair, and they just have a show and they pretend like it's 1998 again. Basically.
Fair play.
Or maybe I don't actually. That's probably
cowards turning their back on the bald community with hair plugs.
How could you?
Wayne Rooney, Roberto Martinez, I see you. Suckers.
Who's the one who plays for Rob Holding? I saw him the other day. I went, where's this come from, Rob?
What? It's a coward's way out.
Yeah.
It's a coward's way out.
It's a coward's way out that I'm probably going to have to take in the next few years, to be perfectly honest.
I will quit.
Right, let's move on to today's And Finally. I'm going to spend this week doing And Finallys, probably from WrestleMania, and giving shout-outs to lots of people because I definitely promised them and I've 100% forgotten all of them. But it's my first day back. I'm still kind of a bit delirious, so I'm just going to show the photo that was posted by Brian Zane following the Mitzvah Mania thing that he did with, against, I should say, Simon Miller. With that face. We love Brian Zane here, a good friend, of course. Worked with Miller over WrestleMania weekend. Miller had a great time at that show. And that's a great face, Brian Zane.
Absolutely fantastic. What a man.
But yes, lots of WrestleMania stuff that we filmed whilst we were over there, interview-wise, coming your way over the next few days, weeks, months. Who knows?
He interviewed Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
I
didn't. I got threatened by the Usos, got scared and said, Miller, you can do the rest of the interviews this week.
Check that out. It's on the channel right now.
It was the most scary experience of my life looking at Solo Sikoa.
I was more intimidated by Samoa Joe in the corner, ready to kill a man. Why not? Got Joe coming, apparently.
Got Joe. We have got Joe, yeah. I suppose if they all get cleared.
Yeah.
We possibly have quite a few interviews if they get cleared coming your way very soon. Anyway, let us know your thoughts.
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden,
That's who I mean. That's what I'm talking about. You got
Joe Pesci?
Joe
Pescatarian, what's his name?
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci.
Ray Liotta, rest in peace.
Oh, R.I.P.
His final film was Cocaine Bear.
Was it?
Yeah. Have you seen that?
I've not watched it yet.
Absolute pish.
Is it?
It's rubbish. Yeah. I watched it. I think it was like, yeah, it must have been the week you guys went to America. I was like, all right, Cocaine Bear, here we go.
Yeah.
It's just not funny. It's not funny.
When are we going to see the Super Mario film? I think we need a work trip for that one.
I think we do. Let's get that one out of the budget.
Get in.
Fund us.
It's a me.
Not you. You don't.
Wilbo.
Oh, God.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and me chatting all about Raw later on today, and hopefully me and
Everyone's
Andy.
got a cold.
Yeah, hopefully me and Andy will do a bit of a Q&A, so keep an eye out for that on Twitter later on today as well. Speaking of which, you can send your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there, follow both of us, follow Andy Murray
at Andy H Murray. The H stands for Hoop 54.
Jesus.
Hooper Mario Brothers. Get it?
Hey.
Get it? Get it?
Follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilbur. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. But for now, my thanks to Andy. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon. It's good to be back.
I don't like quality.